Hi friends! I am choosing to read a book from outside today because it is actually pretty nice out on my back deck. So I decided to do this a different way than what we're used to. It's really nice to get some fresh air too. So it is Artsy Thursday, as you know, and we have been doing lots of fun projects all day. So we are going to read a story called The Dot. And The Dot was written and illustrated by Peter H. Reynolds. This is a book about art. And when I was a student teacher, when I was learning how to become a teacher, I worked in a classroom of first graders, and they actually gave me this book as a gift, and they made creations out of their fingerprints in the cover so I could remember them, which I thought was very nice. So I'm glad to be reading this to you today. Art class was over, but Vashti sat glued to her chair. Her paper was empty. Vashti's teacher leaned over the blank paper. "Ah, a polar bear in a snowstorm," she said. "Very funny," said Vashti. "I just can't draw." Have you ever felt that way sometimes? Really frustrated because you can't draw something that you really want to put on the paper? Sometimes it happens to me too. Her teacher smiled. "Well, just make a mark and see where it takes you." So Vashti grabbed a marker and she gave the paper a good, strong jab. There. See that? It's hard to see with the sun. Her teacher picked up the paper and studied it very carefully. What do you think she's going to say about her dot? She pushed the paper toward Vashti and quietly said, "Now sign your name." Because putting your name on your artwork is very important, right? So it doesn't get lost and you know that it belongs to you. Vashti thought for a moment. Well, maybe I can't draw, but I can sign my name. So there she is, putting her name on her paper, just like you do when you are at the art center or the easel. The next week, when Vashti walked into her art class, she was surprised to see what was hanging above her teacher's desk. It was the little dot she had drawn. Her dot! All framed in swirly gold. What a beautiful picture. I can definitely make a better dot than that. And that's what Vashti thought. She thought she could do a better job. So she opened her never-before-used set of watercolors, and she set to work. What do you think she's going to do now? She thinks she can make a better dot. So do you think she's going to make a bigger dot? A different colored dot? What do you think it'll look like? Vashti painted and painted a yellow dot, a green dot, a red dot, and a blue dot. And then the blue mixed with the yellow, and she discovered that she could make... What color does blue and yellow make when you mix it together? Green! She could make a green dot. So Vashti kept experimenting. Lots of little dots and lots of many colors. If I can make little dots, I can make big dots too. So Vashti splashed her color with a bigger brush on bigger paper to make bigger dots. Those are pretty big dots. Look at that dot compared to how big she is. And Vashti even made a dot by not painting a dot. How did she do that? She painted around it, that's right. So she didn't paint a dot, she painted the space around the dot, which is actually really cool. At the school art show a few weeks later, Vashti Her many dots made quite a splash. So look at all of her dots that are in the school art show. That's a lot of dots. Vashti noticed a little boy gazing up at her. "You're a really great artist. I wish I could draw," he said. "I bet you can," said Vashti. "Me? No, not me. I can't even draw a straight line with a ruler." So this little boy is admiring Vashti and her art. And he's complimenting her, telling her that she's a really great artist. And he said that he's not. So what do you think is going to happen? Vashti smiled, and she handed the boy a blank sheet of paper. "Well, show me," she said. And the boy's pencil shook as he drew his line. And Vashti stared at the boy's squiggle. And then she said, "What do you think she's going to say to him?" "Please sign it." Isn't that what her teacher told her to do at the beginning of the story? So I love that story because it shows that you don't have to be a great, grand artist who makes all these wonderful, magnificent pictures that are very complicated. You can make something out of anything. She started by making dots, and that worked for her. So maybe that little boy will start making things out of squiggles. You just got to be creative with your mind in how you can make something out of nothing, really. So my challenge for you today is you're going to try to make something out of a dot. And I'm going to show you an example. So here on my paper, what do you see there? Just a little dot. So I looked at that dot. I made the dot on my paper, and I looked at it, and I looked at it, and I said, what could I make out of this dot? And it took me a couple minutes to think. My brain the wheel started turning, started getting a little creative, and I thought, I could turn that dot into a spider. So I took that dot, and I created a spider in a web. So it's still the same dot that was on that paper, but now it's a spider, and it turned into a picture. So that's one example of a way that you could make something out of a dot. I did another one. I made a purple dot on my paper, and I thought, and I thought, and I thought, and I started thinking, what could be something that's a purple dot? What could have a purple dot in it? And a lot of things came to mind, but then, for some reason, I thought of a clown nose. So I went with it, and I drew a clown out of that little dot, and that became the clown's nose. So you really can make something out of anything. So your challenge today is you're going to take a piece of paper, and you or an adult is going to draw a big dot on it. Or it can be a little dot, any size dot you really want. And then you're going to get creative. You're going to sit there for a minute, and you're going to think of what you can make out of this dot. Now, I don't want you to copy me. I don't want you to make a clown or a spider. I want you to think of something on your own and do something different. And then when you're all done creating that picture, I want you to take a picture of it, and I want you to send it to us so we can see all of the fun, amazing things that you made. And then we can compare and talk about how so many things can be made out of dots. Because a dot is a little dot. But when you make something out of it, and everybody does their own thing and gets creative, it turns into some pretty amazing things. You saw I made a clown and a spider out of a dot, and those are two very different things. And I know that each and every one of you are super duper creative in our classroom. So I'm very excited to see what you have. So, it is a beautiful day out. I'm going to spend a little bit more time outside. I hope you get to spend some time outside too. Maybe you can color your picture outside if it's nice out where your home is. Because remember, I live in a different town. I live in Portsmouth, so I'm a little bit further away, and sometimes the weather can be a little bit different from where you are in Cranston. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and we don't have school tomorrow. So this is my goodbye to you, and I'm going to wish you a very nice long weekend. and we will see you on Monday. I love you all very much.